laughs after almost getting killed by Wonder Woman's invisible chainsaw of truth, and the Batman who laughs brain was transferred into Bat-Manhattan, reaching a state of unlimited power, becoming one with every Dark Batman across the multiverse while redirecting crisis energy from the Dark Multiverse, where 3 different crises were happening simultaneously, which gave the Darkest Knight the power to create the last 52 multiverse that is only composed of realities where Nightmare's counterparts of Earth Zero's residents existed, similar to the Dark Multiverse. DC's multiverses are infinite. The universes are infinite as well, containing infinite possibilities within them. The Darkest Knight is completely in sync and aware of everything within the infinite dark multiverse, containing infinite nightmares. He can also battle against like Perpetua, one of the hands, some of the strongest beings in the DC universe. A being who was stated to utterly being superior than the likes of Barbados. She's also superior to the likes of the Maurer brothers, and even bested Ultra Maurer, which is all Maurer brothers fused. His clash with Perpetua can be felt and raged across every facet of reality, eventually killing her and taking her remaining powers. In the lost stories of the DC universe, we even get statements to support that there has never been a crisis event this significant. The God Spear realm. Beyond the Speed Force wall and completely transcendent of the bleed contains an archetype of worlds within it and exists beyond and without dimensions. Examples being the Phantom Zone that is explicitly stated and described to be a boundless and dimensionless realm while being contained in a God Spear, a stopping place between being and nothingness. New Genesis is described to be a beyond space and time entirely, and many other archetypal worlds, and the God Spears have statements to support that, and it's extremely important to know that no crisis event had any effect on the God Spear realm before the Darkest Knight, which speaks volumes. The Darkest Knight uses Nightmare's imagination to create a world without an end, then summons the Dark Multiverse variants of the Flash that can also tap into the Speed Force. He's also chased after them and damn near closed the gap between them to the point where Wally West had to use the Speed Force equation to stop time to buy the Speedster some time to adjust accordingly, and this wasn't even enough for the Darkest Knight. The Darkest Knight resisted and pushed up against the time stop, and he even corrupted the Speed Force entirely, which is the power source of all speedsters. The Darkest Knight perceives all time simultaneously, the past, the present, and the future all at once, giving him a pseudo-omniscience and isn't bounded by the linear flow of time, nor is he bounded by space, meaning he can interact and reach at any point in time whenever he feels like it, especially with the many pieces of evidence of how the cosmology is handled. This would also jot him up to the likes of immeasurable or irrelevant speed. Furthermore, the concept of speed is irrelevant to him, and this is further supported by his clash against Perpetua, as I said prior, a being that is blatantly above the concepts of speed, and also the Golden WW, who has also amped to insane degrees after being dipped into the anti-crisis energy. The Darkest Knight would also fight against the likes of Perpetua being the creator of the infinite multiverse that houses constructs that are above several dimensional hierarchies and planes of existence. The battle between them was ripping apart the multiverse and even the stories of them. This further impressive, seeing Perpetua being a 5th dimensional being in the DC fictional terms sees the multiverse as a play object within a play bin. The reason that these feats are so impressive are because Perpetua does scale over all of creation, as she is the one who created it. She's also scaling above all of the monitors, who are some of the strongest beings within the DC cosmology. However, that's a topic for its own video. These are all sort of, in my opinion, minor feats for the Darkest Knight in the form of his battle versus Perpetua, but I thought it would be a valid but minor point of discussion. The Man of Steel, known as Superman, is among one of the most influential and most powerful characters in all of fiction, but can he beat the embodiment of evil and corruption known as the Darkest Knight? A post-crisis Superman could clash against / take blows from the likes of Orion's avatars, who are capable of annihilating the universe, which is confirmed to be 100 trillion light years wide. Not only that, but every universe within the DC multiverse is also infinite in size, which is stated multiple times within the DC cosmology, putting him up to infinitely 3D or high universal pretty casually. He's also defeated the likes of Brainiac 13 on multiple occasions, who's capable of ravaging entire timelines and revolt an entire universe to his will. Superman has also broke the boundaries of space-time entirely when going up against the embodiment of their own death, now putting him as in a concrete 4th dimensional tier of power, also known as Universal Plus, if you take Vsbattle wiki scaling into consideration. However, I'll leave it up to your interpretation. Superman has also held the likes of the Infinite Book. This Infinite Book feat gets downplayed unfortunately, and people try to debunk it by saying that the book has a definitive end when infinity can end / have a start. However, Even with this in mind, we know that things like countable infinities or Aleph nulls do exist within the DC cosmology, which is shown within the stacked upon multiverses and universes within its cosmology. For some context on what an Aleph null is, an Aleph null is not only the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, but is the first smallest infinity within the set of the countable infinities themselves. Within the set of these countable infinities, the countable infinities are prevalent within fiction, with it even being used within DC's counterpart, Marvel, on various occasions. The second debunk the Infinite Book feed has is that Superman had accomplished is that Ultraman did it, who's quite literally just an evil variant of the Superman that's relative to this aforementioned Superman. This book contains every storyline and fate of an out-of-versal construct that is beyond space-time and dimensions entirely. With these feats and statements in mind, this would mean that the likes of Superman and the Darkest Knight, Superman would also be on these out-of-versal levels and or tiers of power. The Cosmic Armor Superman or the Thought Robot, Cosmic Armor Supes or the Thought Robot, again as I said prior, only appears in the 2 issues of Final Crisis, those being Superman Beyond issues 1 and 2. To start, in the beginning of his storyline, Zilovala, a monitor, beings who exist outside of the multiverse and view the multiverse as germs or as a 2-dimensional fictional world within its world of Captain's Atom, monitoring it to prevent any crises from happening yet again, shows up when Superman is desperate to do anything to prevent Lois Lane from being on a cusp of death to propose a deal to save all of existence from the ultimate evil in exchange for the Bleed, a higher dimensional substance medicine that can help save Lois and also the other higher dimensional space between them and the universes themselves. During this trip, they ended up crashing into Limbo, the realm where forgotten characters in DC go. This entropy of evil was so great, she got help from multiple variants of Superman across the multiverse, like Ultraman, Overman, Captain Atom, plus the likes of Shazam. Within Limbo is the book that contains infinite pages written by a dead monkey that contains an out-of-versal construct within it and is literally viewed as non-canon because the stories within it cannot exist in Limbo. This would go for concepts such as and the likes of space and time as well, meaning reality itself is beneath Limbo. Further supported by more statements during the invasion of reality within the battlefields of Limbo, as it's explicitly described as a war between the time and forgotten and the yet to be. While lifting the Infinite Book, Superman and Ultraman would end up learning about the origin of the cosmic armor. In the beginning, there was only the Monitor, the Mind, and the Overvoid, which was supported to represent a white page, which many of you probably know by now. It is a sentient and abstract infinite intelligence containing infinite multiverses within it. When the multiverse was created, the Overvoid/Monitor Mind, shocked by the schism, and apparently discovered the flow after it. There were risks for the concept of a story existing in an immense awareness without limitation, so it created a concept or probe not only to seal this flaw, but also to investigate it as well. This concept or probe was Dax Novu. Captain Atom or Quantum Superman attempted to contact the transparent Monitor Mind/Overvoid and explains how the Thought Robot is activated through the energies of symmetries, not dualities. Ultimate evil is ultimate good, and so forth. Ultraman and Superman would fuse symmetries and activated the Thought Robot, annihilate a place within the Monitor Sphere, a primordial realm that transcends Limbo to defeat the ultimate evil Mandrak once and for all. When the Thought Robot known as Cosmic Armor Superman awakens, not only is he aware of the reader reading the story, but also viewed Limbo, a place that transcends not only the multiverse itself, but the Spear of the Gods, on a conceptual level as 2D or fictional. As for speed, both variants before Fuse have their own set of immeasurable speed feats, and with an amp this massive, the concept of the distance and or speed should logically be irrelevant to Cosmic Armor Superman. Cosmic Armor Superman is explicitly stated to adapt to any threat. This is not a hyperbole, nor trying to delve into the limits of a no fallacy territory whatsoever, because within his fight against Mandrak, he literally displays reactive evolution constantly, getting stronger as Mandrak was also getting stronger. He can take the attack of 1 billion light suns and the blood of 52 universes, meaning he's striking him with full power of a dimensional substance, and these 52 universes are all infinite in size, as I said prior within both parts of the video. This is also not conventional adaptation like the powerhouses you see in the battle shonen, i.e. Broly or Kenpachi. This is more of plot manipulation resistance and or conceptual territory, as I felt the story itself is reassembling itself in Mandrak's favor, and or imagination and or vision, Stay came out on top of the fight, casting him to the overvoid and almost killing him entirely. However, before I go on, I would further like to list some speed feats for the likes of Superman, so I don't get some random comment that Superman would just get speed blitzed by the likes of the Darkest Knight. As for Superman's speed, there are multiple ways you could scale the likes of Superman. However, I think I've made a coherent scale in order to figure out just how fast Superman truly is. For starters, he's chased Super Prime into the future just by flying, and he's went back in time to the Big Bang in his fight with Brainiac. Wonder Woman's fastest speed feat performing her base form was deflecting trillions of pieces of the Shattered God. That was all throughout the universe, giving her at the most highest interpretation of this feat of performing it in a minute would be 52 quintillion times the speed of light. Multiply that by the speed of light over and over and over again, and it wouldn't remotely be close to what Superman has done. However, as I said prior, all universes within a DC universe are infinite, meaning Superman was able to traverse across infinite universes within a finite amount of time, meaning Superman would have infinite speed. Furthermore, Superman, however, once caught the likes of the Flash just by literally running. However, this was only possible due to the Flash slowing down midway through the chase, so do with this information how you will. The Flash has some ludicrous speed feats of just casually running, ranging anywhere from hypersonic to immeasurable speed, so think this how you will. Here's also another feat of him casually traveling through the time with speed alone. Superman once helped Lori, an old love interest within the comics before she died in Final Crisis on Infinite Earths, by going back in time to witness the sinking of Atlantis. Meaning while yes, the Flash is faster than Superman, Superman is still nothing to scoff at in terms of speed, as he's consistently shown to be the second fastest right under the aforementioned Flash within the Justice League. So with all the stats laid out, such as the AP and statements for both characters, we now need to go over a few win conditions and losing conditions for both Cosmic Harper Superman and the Darkest Knight, and explain how this fight would truly go, because it really depends on which continuity and canon is being brought forth to the table. The first win conditions for the Cosmic Harper Superman being out-haxing the Darkest Knight via reactive evolution. If this happens, which it will, the Darkest Knight has no hope of countering this. It's not debatable and or no place for argument to be had. Cosmic Harper Superman would not think of any fear the Darkest Knight would explore it in this form, as he's the literal essence of Superman, good in hope, so not a really good argument to be held, and or to be honest, if you were to take the position of the Darkest Knight within this said debate and or versus battle. The second win condition for Cosmic Harper Superman would be to simply win via the conventional fight, due to him overpowering the Darkest Knight with little to no difficulty, as Superman has shown on countless times to be superior in physical strength than the Darkest Knight. However, with that being said, let's now move on to the win conditions for the Darkest Knight himself. The first win condition for the Darkest Knight would be using cosmology scaling. The Darkest Knight would body Cosmic Harper Superman due to beating Perpetua, as I said prior, the creator of the light/no more multiverse and the most feared hand among her kind, hence being responsible for populating the overvoid/monitor mind with an infinite amount of universes and or multiverses, as I said earlier. While being weakened, the fusion of her children couldn't even beat her in combat. She's also stated to create her children from the overvoid itself, further cementing that the Monitor brothers, Perpetua, or any other hands aren't related and or do not equate to Mandrak, once known as Dax Novu or the Nil Monitors. Unlike the Monitors of Nil, Perpetua and her children lived in the 6th dimension. In the most recent Justice League run, the 6th dimension was explained in great detail and is also the highest plane of existence. When I say the 6th dimension, I don't mean the mathematical structure of the term 6 dimensions, referring to the spatial and or temporal dimensions themselves. It is quite literally more akin to a spiritual or metaphysical layer of reality and or plane of existence that lays atop every realm right before the boundary of the source wall. But while listening to me and or my word, when you can listen to Snack Ziders himself in an initiative interview.
Well, I spoke to Grant about that. The hard thing is, it was funny because it was like, I was talking to him about it and I was like, I want to visualize the map. And he's like, well, the map is always a pain in the ass because none of it would be spatial or time-based. Do you know what I mean? So absolutely. There really isn't a way to do a map when you're talking about a realm that's beyond imagination, or imagination that's totally counterintuitive. So
this would make sense, as in Scott Snyder's Justice League issue 19, Mr. McSeaver remarks on how the 5th dimension, a plane of existence that is numbered, for example, is everywhere at once, and that the 6th dimension, a realm, is beyond imagination. So the people that say weird stuff like DC is only 6-dimensional not only commit a Hitchens razor, but also appeal to ignorance as well, because it's consistently shown time and time again that is beyond infinite dimensions on an entirely infinite dimensional scale. If you think Mandrake, while even up against Cosmic Armor Superman, was a fuller fraction of himself, because that argument can be made, if using Scott Snyder's version of Mandrake, the Dark Knight wins with little to no difficulty. However, while with this all being said, this will be the first time I'll be stating my opinion on who wins, and will solely leave it up to the opinion, perception, and interpretation of the viewer. However, with that being said, I would like to thank Rogue for helping me with the script, writing, and research for both The Darkest Knight and Cosmic Armor Superman. His channel will be linked within the description and comments down below. But make sure to have a nice rest of your day, make sure to be and stay safe, and until next time, bye.